Welcome back to another episode of Nauti Nook Sailing Adventures. Broke, stranded, and pregnant in the Caribbean. Subscribe and let's dive in. Coronavirus in Antigua. It's been interesting. This is where we've been for the last nearly 3 months during coronavirus, and restrictions were pretty strict for a while. We had a lockdown and a pretty strict curfew, so only from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. could you get off your boat to go into town for essential runs like getting food and provisions. There were often long lines at the supermarket. The worst was around Easter, where I waited 3 hours to get into a supermarket, and they closed the doors for curfew at 12 p.m. before I could get any food. So that was a sad day.
Half your luck.
But that was the worst of it, and generally it hasn't been that bad. Still no social gatherings. We've got to wear a mask at all times when we go to shore.
No cuddles, no kisses, 6 feet apart. It's been tough sleeping in separate beds the whole time.
Then how do you explain this?
I don't know. I don't know. Must have been, I don't know, maybe the gas bottle delivery guy, I don't know. It didn't really change that much. We kind of hang on the boat a lot anyway. It gave me a chance to pull the chain plates, and gave us a chance to spend all the rest of our money and even put some money on our credit card. So looking forward to getting back to Australia and doing 3 or 4 months work for basically nothing, just paying off our debts.
We work for the dog. We feel pretty lucky. As you can see, it's pretty beautiful around us. We've managed to change anchorages a couple of times. We've still been able to do our baby scans and get some hikes in occasionally. Here's a little bit about what coronavirus was like for us. QB roll. Beautiful morning. I got to enjoy the sun rising from the hammock, and that's what boat life is about, and it's pretty exciting. We have our 20-week...
Can you just clap yourself?
Yes. It's 20-week, our 5-month scan for the baby, so we're gonna get to see how this little sea squirt's doing.
Show them the belly. Poke it out. E.T. phone home.
We're starting to get some movement and everything, so that's pretty exciting, and we will get to see it on the scan today. So we've brought the boat around to a beautiful anchorage called Deep Bay, which is just south of the capital city of Antigua, St. John's, and we're going to take the dinghy around and walk about 10 minutes to the clinic and see how our little baby's doing.
That's right. Hey, 6 feet apart, social distancing rules apply.
Are you smiling or angry right now?
Angry.
It's hard to tell.
your official findings today?
The mom and baby are doing just fine.
Oh, that's great news.
Okay. I didn't peep, even though I have my my suspicions based on.
Oh, you do? Okay.
But I'm not gonna.
But you didn't see anything definitive.
Nothing definitive.
Oh, it's good to get those masks off.
Oh.
And so nice to see that she's doing well. I'm saying we didn't get a confirmation. We're keeping the sex surprise until birth. All things going well and follow-up scans, but the baby didn't want to be revealed anyways. The baby was head down, and last time she was kind of in a downward dog position, sort of bum up and head down, and this time similar, like a child's pose or a yoga puppy pose position, so it was really cute. What did you think?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see how much he or she was moving. Like, I thought they'd just sort of hang there, but she was like doing the running man. Yeah, you can't touch this.
And so much skeletal development too. We could see the spinal cord, the 4 chambers of the heart, and development looked normal. If anything, the baby's probably a little bit bigger, like presenting as like 21 weeks in length rather than 19.
Maybe it's all the ice cream and chocolate you've been
It might
eating.
be all the ice cream and chocolate.
Don't stop.
I'll slow down.
Wow. There's like 40-foot yachts just up the front, like stacked in there like it ain't no thing. Containers. Hey, hi.
Are you in a timeout?
Well, I just heard everyone's got to isolate these days and quarantine themselves, so I figured this would probably be the safest place to be. I've got all I need down here. I've got plenty of fuel. Got plenty of hoses and wires to look at, and yeah, I think I'm just going to hang down here for the next couple of months. What do you reckon?
Nicely painted fuel tanks. Look at that.
It's super claustrophobic. It's even more claustrophobic than it looks.
It doesn't actually look that claustrophobic from that angle, but...
Well, this is what I've got to do to get out.
Yeah, show us. Give us a demo.
I've got to like wedge my bum back this way. Sorry, I've got to take this arm out first.
Oh.
Hang on, how did I do it again?
Oh no.
If you panic, it's the worst thing ever, because you freak out. Gotta go that side, then like that, like that. Yeah. I had a little moment when I was down there yesterday, and I was spraying some like little bits of paint down there, and I had to like breathe, so I had to like take a big breath and spray, and then like do all that manoeuvring and then get my head out and go and breathe when the wind was coming at me. But it was a moment where I kind of panicked a bit, and I was like, and I kind of tried to force my way out and just like end up bruising my elbow and stuff. And you just gotta like relax and just be rubber man and go, okay, that's not working. Try this. Out.
You're a good human.
Yeah, it's not it's what you gotta do when you got shit to do.
Good morning. It's super early and we are pretty excited. We are going to interview a pretty special guest. There's a man named Graham who's just arrived in English Harbour after 3 months at sea, rowing across the Atlantic solo. What a crazy chap. I met him yesterday and he's agreed to talk to us here at Nauti Nook and tell us a little bit about his journey. This guy is mad in the best way possible, and we can't wait to go and have a bit of a chat to him. So come along.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
I know, it puts things in perspective when I get worried about doing a passage in a safe and big and comfortable sailboat, and here he is with his home boat, rowboat, one of which sunk in the middle of the Atlantic.
This is going to be a crazy story.
This is good.
You like it?
Yeah.
It's probably not as good as your wife's banana bread.
Ah, good.
How does a fairly normal guy get a dream to row multiple times across the Atlantic Ocean? I mean, we're talking what, 2,000 miles?
3,000, yeah.
3, geez,
Yeah.
don't let me
No, it's
undermine
okay,
it.
it's okay. When you say normal guy, maybe that's not quite true.
Tell us more.
No. Yeah, what is normal? Yeah, I don't know. It started 22 years ago when I seen an article in the paper of Shay Blythe saying why don't you join the first ever row across the Atlantic? No one's ever, this is the first, there's never been a race before across the Atlantic, ever, up till this time. And that was 1997. So I said, that sounds incredible. I would like to get on something to be a first, you know, to do something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
So how did that first race go?
I had a job to get a partner in the first race. It took me 2 years, but I assumed it would be easy. So I kept asking around all my friends, say, come on, do you want to row the Atlantic?
It'd be grand.
And strange enough, I'd have a job getting a partner.
Oh mate, you wonder why.
Yeah.
And then from that point onwards, I kind of got involved in a bit more rowing, and then I thought, what would it be like to do a solo after that? And then the third attempt was a solo attempt in this same boat. Yeah.
Wow.
How many records do you hold?
No, that was the only one, the smallest boat.
And now the oldest rower, and
yeah.
the most crossings.
And the most crossings, yeah.
So how many times have you rowed across the Atlantic?
5 all told now.
Well,
5.
He's got more hits than the Jackson 5, this guy.
And was one of them the time where there was a bit of disaster at sea?
We got hit by a big storm in the mid-Atlantic, and I went 12 o'clock at night, because I was the second watch person because of my experience. And Simon was the skipper, and I went off watch. I said to him, and the winds blew up to nearly 50 miles, and I said, it's getting really dangerous now. I said, we're just holding the oars. I said, I'm locked in place. And he said to me, no, he said, we're here to break the world record, we've got to row. So I went off watch anyway, and the guys, two in the bow cabin, two in the, and there was a shout, 12 o'clock, man overboard, 12 o'clock at night. We came out, and we seen his head torch, and the boat was just being blasted along with throwing ropes, and then we couldn't get to him.
So your buddy just went overboard, and you had to watch him.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So when you're rowing, you're not like secured in the seat at all?
It's a horrible system, and on this particular boat, he had ankle leashes, you know, like you've got on a board.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm rowing, if it's really heavy, I have a chest harness on, which is not very often, in a big storm, you know, so that, but these are horrible ankle leashes, and it just broke. It was on.
Oh, he was wearing one that broke.
Yeah, and then.
And was he?
Oh my
God. Was he screaming out for you guys? Like he knew.
I couldn't tell. The wind is that noisy.
So loud.
You couldn't hear. Yeah, so the wind's so noisy.
It's just there's so many questions I got to ask you. This is just mind blowing. Is strength as important as you think it is on long passages, or it's more an endurance thing? Because you're not a huge guy, but you've got arms the size of Popeye. I see.
No, well, they've shrunk a bit now, but.
I just can't imagine these arms here are what has powered this whole boat across the Atlantic, and it's just pound for pound, your biceps are probably the strongest biceps that have ever been made. I think.
No.
Like, it's crazy.
I mean, when we were racing, we were doing 200 miles a day.
Wow.
In training?
No, with the 4-man when we tried to break the world record.
And are you all racing in unison, or is it one on, one off? Or
No, 4 non-stop, 4 people. Flat out, 4 people racing 24 hours a day.
Oh, bullshit.
Yeah, and then you swap out, and then you come out, your seat, and you take over from the next person, and there's no break at all. The seat's never empty. The 4 rowing seats are never empty, it's non-stop.
So you're sleeping, eating, or rowing?
Yeah, non-stop. Obviously, you've got to keep your mind active. You're always thinking about things that you're going to do afterwards, and challenges and things, and maybe things you've done in the past. I mean, I wrote another book before this about the first race called Into the Unknown. My situation was, what do I do when I'm rowing? I didn't have any music or anything like that. No. So I started thinking about all the things I'd done in the past, all the adventures I'd had in the past.
Yeah. Just replaying them in your mind, and like a movie.
Yeah, because I was 50 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll go back into the and that's what I did. I mean, the boat's quite it gets thrown about quite drastically.
Yeah, tell me about that. What's this like in a big sea? It's a small boat.
Has it ever gone fully?
No, it's never gone upside down.
Never
capsized.
Have you had whitewash waves coming?
No, normally, yeah, quite often in the big seas the waves just come over. But the rowing deck takes 60 gallons of water before anything.
What was your diet like? I know that if I was rowing across an ocean like that, I'd probably be able to eat the scabs off my bottom lips, the way my lips get burnt in the sun after a couple of days. But
see, this is the emergency cooker.
Yep.
But the normal one, I've packed it away now. It's a gimbaled 4 ways. It's called a sea cook.
Yep.
And it fits in here, and it swings round like this, and everything clamps on the top.
Oh, perfect.
And it's clamped.
Will you catch fish on
I do catch some fish now and again. Yeah.
Were you towing a lure when you were?
Yeah.
And did you ever get any nice yellowfin tuna or mahi or stuff, or big ones?
Yeah, about this size, yeah. But in all honesty, previously I've caught quite a few. Now I took when the boat went down the last time in the Atlantic, the last one I was talking about, and it sank and I had to get helicoptered off.
What? Whoa, that's a whole nother story. I want to hear about that too. But...
And everything went down. I lost everything. All my fishing gear, everything. The only thing I got left was a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh.
And me phone and passport.
How quickly did the boat sink? It sounded like
not too fast. No, he let me get the life raft off and climb into the life raft and things like that.
How did it sink? Did a wave come on board?
No, what happened was it capsized and it came up and it was halfway up like that. She wouldn't self-right like this, and the seas were just breaking over and filling her, and so she was slowly filling up.
Oh. And you were solo?
Yeah.
Did you have communications?
Yeah, I rang England, the rescue centre. They sent a message out to Gran Canaria, and they flew, and then the helicopter was lifted off. I think all I had to spend in the life raft was about 3 hours.
And what have you learnt as a person from all this? Is there any revelations that you've sort of come across when you're doing all this, like the meaning of life or what it's all about, or? Well,
I don't know. The thing about, I suppose, the only thing I can think of is that you get some really lows that some people go through some lows, but on this you can get really down as well. When you're being hit by seas non-stop, you're soaking wet through, and you're exhausted, and you can't eat properly because the sea's coming over the side. So you get really down, and there's times like that. But on the reverse of that, there's fantastic times when you sit down and the sun comes up and you're rowing and you see this fantastic scene, and then you finish your row and then you sit down and have your breakfast and the sun comes up, and there's and then your dolphins come round and stuff like that, And on this particular trip, which had never happened before, a big pod of minke whales came by.
Wow.
Quite a big pod, and then I seen them all go by, and then one peeled off. And it was I think it was a youngster, the size of him, and it came back. Well, I don't know if it was a male or female, not really expert, but it kept swimming round and shooting out the water with the head and twisting and turning.
Spy hopping.
Yeah, and he did that for nearly 3 hours.
Oh, what a treat!
All around, like I said, popping up. Oh, yeah.
I heard a story that your wife said she doesn't want to see this boat again.
That's right. She said I've got to find another woman if I if I come back with the boat. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen the flowers. Anyway, when you look on the side of the boat, there's some flowers painted on the side of the boat there. And when I built this in the front garden.
You built this in your front garden?
Yeah, in the front garden, yeah.
This guy is the real deal.
So she said to me, I can't see the flowers now. You put the boat right in front of the flowers. What, I said, I'll sort it. And I knew a friend, an artist. It was and I asked her to come and paint some flowers, and they're still on. This is the first race, the very first, when I built the boat 22 years ago. Those flowers are still on the side of the boat now. And I said to the wife, look, come out now. And she said,
you can see the flowers again.
Yeah,
that's problem solving.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what it was like for you leaving land in January, and it took you 3 months to row.
Yeah.
The world you left was not the world you arrived to. Was it did you have any news, or was it a bit shocking what had happened when
What
you
are you
arrived?
talking about, coronavirus?
Coronavirus, yeah.
I mean, my wife, she let me know, because I used to ring once a week. We'd have a call on the satellite phone, and then slowly over the weeks, she told me it's getting worse and worse, and I realised that how serious it was as we came in here. She filled me in how bad it was getting.
Lucky for you, I mean, 3 months at sea, that's quarantine if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
What was your first meal after 3 months at sea?
Well, they cooked me a lovely meal, like a beef burger and things, and tomatoes and vegetables. When I arrived, the reception was brilliant. People were handing me bottles of champagne, and
Yeah.
It was incredible.
What does a man who's crossed the Atlantic 5 times do with himself now that he's been told not to bring the boat home and probably not to do it again?
Well, we've got a small sailing boat, so I'm hoping to get into sailing a bit more again. I've not done hardly any sailing for that's quite a few years now, but I thought it'd be nice to get back into sailing.
It'll be nice to let the boat do the work for you, the sails and the
Yeah.
Graham, you're so inspiring, and also thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Okay. No, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. That's it's incredible. We're going to buy your book.
Yeah.
To meet a man
Okay.
This has blown us away. Like I've never met anyone that's done anything like this, and This is just a little teaser. You need to be able to, you need to watch the full documentary when it's released.
Yeah.
And buy the books, buy Graham's book.
And buy the books as well, because this guy's the real deal, and yeah, he's definitely worthy of your time.
Thanks for watching another episode of Nauti Nook. If you like this video, subscribe and leave us a comment below.
Or maybe even a thumbs up.
Thanks for watching, legends. Cheers, until next time.
Adios.